Hey YouTubers, it's James from the Green Man Alchemist YouTube channel, and as promised, we're going to be talking about a few things. So this is going to be a multiple video series. Lately I've been very sick and under the weather, so please bear with me. I'm still getting over the flu with a sinus infection, so if I sound kind of weird, I shouldn't, but if I do, I apologize, and if I cough in your ear, sorry. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about I was originally going to be doing some rose water infusion with some rainwater that I captured a while back, and this was on a new moon. So unfortunately I don't have any fresh rose petals that I initially wanted to use. So today we're going to be using some lavender, and if you hear any background noise, I apologize. It's either my pets or, as you can clearly hear in the background, some airplanes. I live near a military base, so it's a constant thing on a daily basis. So anyways, moving on. Oh, and before I forget, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps me out a lot. I will be posting Amazon affiliated links in the description box, just in case if you can't find these things in your local area. You always want to repurpose and recycle what you have in your area or in your household. So make sure to utilize those items first, and if you can't, then go out and purchase something that's going to be reusable and recyclable later. But anyways, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification button to get updates when new content is available. I'm also on Twitch, and on Twitch, if you haven't noticed, I've been uploading some gaming videos. So if you're into gaming, I do have a playlist dedicated just for that. But moving on. So what you want to do is you want to get your dried or fresh ingredient. Here, sorry, the lighting, even though I have lighting like all around, I just don't have any up here. So you want to get as fresh herbs as you can. Make sure that they're natural, that they don't have any kind of insecticides or any kind of sprays like that, or essential oils, because they already have it, so they don't need it. So what you're going to do is, again, off camera, and this time I do have a little funnel. Yay, found it. I have a lot of stuff, I just have it stashed away, so I gotta start utilizing that. So what you want to do is get your container, whatever size it is, right? I'm just going to use this because it's going to be a moon water spray with lavender. How cool, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour off camera because I don't want to get any water anywhere on here. So I'm going to pause the video just for a second, but I'll be right back once this is filled. But before I actually put my water content in here, because if I fill it up, just as a reminder, it's going to be very difficult to put your ingredients in. So before and I'm glad I caught myself, but before I do that, I want to fill this up because this is going to expand in water. You probably want to fill it up 2/3 of the way, about right here, and it's going to expand, and later, maybe after a day, maybe even after an hour, you might have to put more liquid in there. So before I go on, this is an example of moon water infusion. This actually is jasmine, so it is in a lid tight container. So just as a warning, this is perfect. This is how it's supposed to be when you open it. Let me open it here. As you can see, there is no mold. And can you focus, please? Yeah. So there's no mold in here, even though it's living water. And what living water is, just basically unfiltered water that you would, boil off any kind of impurities. But since it's natural water, well, depending where you're at, because there, with climate change and pollution, stuff can get into in the water. So you want to make sure that when you collect rainwater, that it's in an area where, you're not going to have runoff of oil, like, near any kind of road or any kind of place that has human material that's going to interfere with the water. Now, I will let you see something that's kind of gross. This one went kind of rancid, but I saved it because I wanted to show you guys what not to do. So this is the same mixture, but I put it just a little bit. You can see where the line is, and this is mold, so it's kind of yucky and gross. But again, I wanted to show you this to prove a point. This is from this very same bottle. After maybe like a couple days, I poured some in here, and then refilled this with a little bit. I topped it off with more rainwater. Anyways, so this is an example of what will happen when you do not have a solid lid covering, and especially if you have this in direct sunlight. Heat with oxygen will create mold, so make sure that you have airtight containers. Your containers are sanitized, and to sanitize it, just make sure that you put both the lid and the container either in some rubbing alcohol. Just like in previous videos, I said I'd like to put mine in a soapy water mixed with Clorox just to kill any bacteria. I let it air dry before I use it, and then I move forward. So that's just a little tidbit just for you. So I'm going to pour some of this lavender into this container, and we'll be right back. So now I'm back, guys. As you can tell, this is maybe a little bit more than 2/3 full, but doesn't matter. This is what's left out of what I filled. So I'm just going to put this back into a container after I'm done. Now the next step is to put your funnel and get your airtight rainwater and pour it in. So hopefully I can do this carefully without any spills. Now I did this off camera because I spilled some of the water. Here you'll see that I filled it up all the way to the top, and that's okay, because in a little bit I'm going to pause the video. Sorry, that's my little black cat Loki crying. He wants to come into the room. I know, baby. But once you let this, you can already see, look, it's already absorbing into the herb. When it's dry herb, you're going to want to put more water, because as you can see in my previous video of my rosemary and chamomile, even though I filled this all the way up with vinegar, the plant material is still absorbing that infusion. So again, depending on how much you put in there and what you're using, it will vary. So I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna let the water kind of the water absorb into the dry herb, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I let the herbs absorb into, or the water absorb into the herb. Sorry, I'm backwards today. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm going to try to bring one of my lights over here, that you can kind of see that the water is already turning a lavender color, and that's just within less than 5 minutes. So give this about at least a couple weeks to sit in a dark, cool place. Since this is water, I don't recommend putting it in a hot area, because again, it will build mold. But as long as your container that you have is airtight, seriously, to where nothing can get in or out, you'll be fine. And again, just as an example, this is the jasmine tincture that I have to drain later. If you want to make it more potent, you can strain this and make sure that you get all the essential oils from the water out, and then restart the process again. If you freeze this after you open it in the refrigerator, it can last you a month, maybe longer, depending on how well you preserve it. But again, for these are more for like bathing. Since they are natural, you can consume them, but that's at your own risk, because when you collect rainwater, it's living water. And again, what living water is, it's unfiltered water, a water source that has live microorganisms in it. So if there's something in the water, some kind of bacteria or something like that, then you're taking a risk. So again, I'm not a doctor. That's just my disclaimer. You're doing it at your own risk. But these are safe to use even as a body spray. But again, if it's going to be something that you're going to use for like taking a bath or just misting yourself, you can do that. You can even add with your rainwater, maybe about 1/4 away from your bottle, depending on how big it is, witch hazel, and that will kind of help preserve the herb, extract more essential oils from it. But then you can use this as like a facial spray. So if you were going to use new moon water that's been charged, and you're using appropriate or herbs that are associated with the new moon, you can do that. Rose is good for that. So I've made plenty of those tonics. So these are just water infusions, and it just so happens that I used water that I collected on a new moon. So look at that, it's changing. And again, this is all natural. I don't put additives into any of these extractions or infusions. That's not good for you. Most commercial companies will. Some might use chemicals, others might use plant matter, but again, it depends. You don't know what they're putting in. At least when you're making these yourself, you know what you're putting into it. So that's pretty much it for this video of new moon / moon water infusions. You can even use besides dry herbs like flowers and different parts of the plant, you can also use roots. The roots will take a little bit longer. You might want to wait a month before using it. Same storage techniques, so just follow those instructions, you'll be fine. But again, I hope you like this video. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you soon.